Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend that my ex-wife was tighter? Am I the a-hole for leaving photographic evidence of my husband cheating somewhere his parents should not have looked? Am I the a-hole for getting it elsewhere since my wife didn't want to have sex anymore? Am I the a-hole for moving out with my infant because I'm starting to hate my stepdaughter? Am I the a-hole for making my wife confess to all of her friends and family that she cheated on me if she did not want a divorce? Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend that my ex-wife was tighter? We have a male 39 OP and a female 32 girlfriend and a female 42 ex-wife. I hate it when people make fun of others. I mean, I know that people can gossip and talk amongst friends about other people, and I'm guilty of that too, but I got very upset when my girlfriend started talking about my ex-wife. I understand that disliking an ex isn't abnormal or anything, but my girlfriend is obsessed with my ex-wife and always tries to make bad remarks about her. When it is just to me, I don't care, because again, people gossip and talk shit about others in the privacy of their own homes. But this time, it was in a restaurant with some of her girlfriends and spouses. Somehow the discussion became about my ex-wife's vagina. Yes, don't ask me how, but they were discussing childbirth and body changes, age, etc. And my ex got dragged. My girlfriend was a bit drunk and she was talking loudly. I hated it and asked her to stop talking. When I get upset, she doubles down because she starts thinking, why do you care? Why don't you want me to talk shit about your ex? She has told me this before. Now she was talking about how my ex-wife must have a huge one. We have 2 children together, female 4, male 2. Okay, that actually changes things for me a little bit. I think it's one thing if it's just your ex. I think it's completely different if it's the mother of your children. The girls started laughing and saying, ew. I yelled to stop, but they ignored me. Then my girlfriend told me, why are you so agitated? Did we hit a nerve? I said, actually, no. My ex-wife was the tightest woman I have had. Oh my God. I said, actually, no, my ex-wife was the tightest woman I have had. I don't know how she managed it, but she's very tight. Okay, saying that to your significant other is insane. But saying that to your significant other in front of her friends? Wow. Just fucking wow. They became silent and my girlfriend started crying. Then the women started yelling a-hole at me and their spouses were between amused and scared. Then one of the spouses said, yeah, I don't think childbirth really affects this. I haven't noticed a difference with women I've dated. I felt gratitude, but I was still being yelled at and my girlfriend has not called or answered me since Saturday. I'm so tired. I think I just have to go with everyone sucks here, which I feel like is the easy answer. But truly the friends suck, this girlfriend sucks, and I think OP sucks for their immature reaction. Even though they got put in an immature situation, I don't think it's good for any relationship, nor is it okay to be like, yeah, my ex was tighter than you in front of her friends. I mean, it's funny as fuck for a bystander like me who has no skin in the game, but if I was in that situation, that's terrible. Yeah, the girlfriend shouldn't be talking shit about the ex, especially if that's the mother of his kids. Just unacceptable to talk about her like that. The friends shouldn't have been egging it on. This just sounds like a group of shitty people. Am I the a-hole for leaving photographic evidence of my husband cheating somewhere his parents should not have looked? I, female 30, kicked my husband 28 out of my house. It was my house prior to us getting married, and it remains my house now. I knew when I married him that he was bisexual. I was okay with it as long as he understood that we were monogamous. I said that I would never agree to an open relationship, and if that was what he wanted, he needed to be with someone else. He agreed and said that I was the person he wanted to be with and that I was more than enough to satisfy him. He lied. I found out he was having an affair with a man. I went through his iPad and took all the pictures for myself, graphic, in a Mapplethorpe kind of way. When I confronted him, he became physically aggressive. I was scared. He calmed down when I got Siri to call 911. He left. Anyway, I did not want him in my house again, ever. When he wanted his things, I asked him to make a list and send it to me. I found every single thing on the list. I asked him where to send the box. He said he would pick it up. I told him that I would not let him set foot in my house and that I would call the cops if he tried. He said he would send friends to get his stuff. I said I would leave his box of crap with the front desk at my work. He didn't want to make them drive into the city. We compromised and I agreed to give his parents a temporary code for my house. They are lovely people and I trusted them. I could see everything on my security system and I would know if he tried getting into my house. The deal was that they would use the code, get the box from the front entrance, then close and lock the door. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Instead, it went difficult. difficult lemon fucked. I guess he didn't have everything on his list. He asked them to get something from my bedroom. Not the deal at all. I had my pictures of his infidelity in my room in my chest of drawers in an envelope. So to reiterate, to find these photos, his mom had to go past our agreed limit into my house. Then she had to enter my bedroom, open my chest of drawers, open an envelope, and look what was inside. I felt violated watching the video. Then I giggled like a little kid. It was hilarious. I see them come into the house. They use the code and open the door. His dad comes in and grabs the box. He goes back to their vehicle with the box. His mom hesitates before walking into my house and going to my room. She goes to my chest and opens the top drawer where we kept a box full of jewelry. She sees an envelope with his name on it. She looks around. I'm not sure why. Then she looks at the content. She screams, I assume, since I have my feed on video only. Then she stuffs the pictures back in, closes the drawer, and goes running for the truck. My father-in-law comes to the door, locks it, and leaves. I hope that his parents aren't homophobic. I think that's the only place where I could maybe have sympathy for the husband, but like, hey bro, you brought this on yourself. I guess he never told his parents about his proclivities. To say that this has created a problem for him is to take it lightly. I got a call from him. He says I left the pictures out for his parents to find. I did not. I should have scattered them on top of the box his parents picked up, but that felt cruel and unnecessary. Like I said, I have always found them to be lovely people. I told him where the pictures were. He said that he forgot about a ring he left off the list, and he told his mom where it should be. I said I would have tossed it in the box if he had told me. He said he forgot until they were on their way. He is upset that his parents know he is a power bottom. Damn, bro. Not only did they figure out that their son likes men, but also he's a bottom. He is not happy at their house now, and he is going to find somewhere else to stay. He said, I'm an a-hole for causing this problem. I think there are other candidates for assholehood. 1, him cheating. 2, him getting his parents to go against our agreement. 3, his mom going against our agreement. 4, his mom for snooping. 5, his parents for homophobia. In no case will I ever justify homophobia. That being said, this husband is sleeping in the bed that he made. If he would have just not cheated, he would have been fine. If he would have just not broken OP's rules, he would have been good. But instead, he decided to fuck around. And boy, did he find out. Not the a-hole. I hope OP has a great rest of her life without this husband. Am I the a-hole for refusing to consider stopping our divorce after my ex admitted her psychic friend lied about me having an affair? I met my wife Rona when we were in college together. I made the obviously terrible assumption that the fact that she was in post-secondary education meant she had a modicum of common sense. We started dating our senior year, and after job hunting, settled on moving back to her hometown after graduation. We found an apartment and lived together for 2 years before getting married. All good so far. At our wedding, I met an old friend of hers, Anna. She offered to read my palms since she was part gypsy. Weird, I am in construction and I know a few people from that group, and they call themselves Roma, whatever. Anna only comes to town every once in a while. She lives in New York City, so she doesn't have time to visit since she has an exciting life there. She makes costumes for plays and cosplayers, so we see her maybe 4 times over the next 2 years. Last time she came was Labor Day last year, and that's when it got weird. All of a sudden, Rona starts acting oddly. She starts checking in on me at work, coming by when I'm working late, asking to use my phone because hers is almost out of power, that sort of thing. She finally comes out and accuses me of having an affair. I thought she was joking, so I laugh and say that I'm not. That sets her off like a Roman candle because Anna told her I would laugh it off when Rona came for the truth. I laughed because it was ridiculous. I barely had time for a relationship with my wife and my job. I am home all weekend long. When I go golfing, her brother is almost always either in my foursome or at the club. And most important of all, I love my wife. I wouldn't do anything to harm her, and yet she takes the word of Anna, the psychic seamstress, over mine. She asks me to leave our apartment. I say no because I have nowhere to go. So she leaves and moves back with her parents. They think she is nuts too. I spend the next 2 months working and trying to convince her that I'm not cheating and that I want her to come home. I don't get invited to Thanksgiving because it would be awkward. I didn't even stick around for Christmas. I went home to see my family. They had been following all this stupidity without commenting until then. At Christmas, they had an intervention. They said my wife was having a break from reality and that she wasn't coming out of it. My dad told me to give my head a shake, which he only does when I am being monumentally stupid. When I got back, I went to a lawyer and started my divorce. That was in January. Finally, at the beginning of April, Rona calls me to talk. I say that we should talk through lawyers. She starts to cry and I agree to meet her in public if she will allow me to record our conversation so I can give a copy to my lawyer. She eventually agreed. Turns out her and her parents hired a private detective to find my affair. 6 months and a huge bill later, 0 zero evidence of an affair. She finally believes me and wants to come home. I tell her that our lease is up in July and I already found a job in Denver near my family. She says she would come with me. I respectfully declined. I told her we just weren't right for each other. The truth is, I do not want to have my offspring share DNA with this dingbat. Anyway, I am moving ahead with my divorce. I am gutted that she took her friend's psychic vibrator over mine. Her family has approached me several times. The last time her dad offered to front us a 25% down payment on a house if I agree to go to marriage counseling instead of just leaving. I politely declined. I cannot be bought. Okay, but 25% down in this economy? Bro, this is me being a shitty person. But he didn't say you had to stay in the marriage. He just said to go to marriage counseling first. Maybe it would make the divorce more complicated, but 25% down payment on a house in Denver is fucking crazy. Rona is now depressed, but I see no way of trusting her again. She is young enough that she can marry again and wreck some other guy's life. Damn, if it isn't the consequences of Rona's actions, I'm surprised OP held out as long as he did, because if this happened to me, I would have cut that shit off so fast. Yeah, sure, maybe if you had evidence, if you found text messages, if you found whatever, sure, you have a good reason. But if some psychic girl is like, oh, your husband's cheating, and that's your evidence, I'm filing for divorce. Not the a-hole. OP, go find yourself not a crazy person. Am I the a-hole for getting it elsewhere since my wife didn't want to have sex anymore? My wife has decided unilaterally that we are done having sex. She found out that she cannot have kids due to a choice she made before we met, and kids apparently are the only reason she was willing to have sex. I love my wife and I enjoy being intimate with her, but it was making our marriage untenable after 2 years of this, so I posted for advice. I got a lot of great support and suggestions about how to talk to my wife. I tried a lot of it. I started going to counseling for myself as well, but no matter how I approached her about our situation, she would not try and see it from my point of view. Every discussion would end in her crying and screaming in my face that I am trying to emotionally manipulate her. I then wrote her a letter outlining my feelings and asked her to come with me for counseling, to seek it for herself, perhaps to go see a doctor. I was kind and loving in the letter. The last thing I wanted to do was to set her off. I worked on the wording with my counselor to make sure I wasn't saying anything aggressive that could be misinterpreted. Obviously, we don't know the details. Anybody who's trying to express how they feel and then the first jump that they make is you're emotionally manipulating me is the manipulator in that situation. So far, very much on OP's side. I love that he's getting counseling. I love that he's being very delicate about the situation and trying to go about it a mature way. She read the letter. Then she scrawled across it with her red Sharpie, "Go get it elsewhere because you are not getting it from me." Then she walked out. I sat there for about an hour doing nothing. Then I told myself that was what I was going to do. We are both fairly successful in our jobs. I'm not super attractive, but I'm fit and a good talker. It took a while, but I met someone. We started out as just friends, but it became physical. I made sure she knew I was married. She's not interested in a relationship, so I guess I am a safe option for her. My wife found out because I did not try and hide it. She was crying when I got home one night. When I came in, she asked if I was going to leave her. I said no. She asked if I was cheating on her, and I said I was getting sex elsewhere. She said that was cheating, and I did not disagree. I asked her what she wanted to do. She said I had to stop. I asked her if we were going to start having sex. She said I was an irrational asshole if I thought she would have sex with me after I cheated. I went to my desk and pulled out a photocopy of the letter I wrote her with an answer. Bro had receipts. Not only did he have receipts, but he had photocopied receipts. So at some point, homeboy was looking at this letter and was like, I gotta have copies of this. And he went and photocopied it. Honestly, no argument. What are you supposed to say to that? Pulled out a photocopy of the letter I wrote with her answer on it. I went to have a shower and go to my room to sleep. When I woke up, she was sitting on the couch waiting to talk. She said that she reread the letter and that she realized she had not before. She assumed it was just a letter begging her for sex. She said she would go for counseling alone and with me. All I had to do was stop having sex elsewhere. I said I would be willing to pause my friendship until we saw a counselor, and that if I saw progress in our relationship, I would break it off. She said she would not agree to counseling without me leaving the other woman. It almost turned into a fight, so I just went for my run. Before I left, I asked her what would compel her to go to counseling if I stopped having sex elsewhere. When I got back, she did not have an answer. She couldn't even say that our relationship was worth saving. I don't want a divorce, but I am willing to leave over this. I am 28. I am not going the rest of my life without sex. She refuses to see my side. Yeah, bro, 28 is so... what the fuck? I'm just curious. Why doesn't homeboy want a divorce? It'd be one thing if she was very reasonable and nice and not manipulative and actually was willing to hear OP OP's feelings in the relationship, but she hasn't done any of that. Like, why do you want to stay with her? She sounds like an awful human. Not the a-hole for the question at hand, but you're the a-hole for not wanting to divorce this woman. Did nobody teach you self-respect? This woman is actively disrespecting the hell out of you. Go find somebody else who doesn't. It's that easy. It's ridiculous. She can't even endure the consequences of her own actions. Am I the a-hole for moving forward with our divorce after my soon-to-be ex was badly injured in a motorcycle accident? My wife and I separated last year. She found someone she liked better and he left his wife for her. Not going to lie, it hurt. We did the legal separation and started on the divorce. She is on my health insurance until the divorce is final. I've met someone new through my sister. We are taking it slow, but she seems to like me. 2 weeks ago, my ex was out with her boyfriend on his motorcycle. They hit a patch of gravel and crashed. Unfortunately, he was knocked unconscious and ended up in the ditch where he drowned. She broke her femur and is in the hospital still. I went by to check on her and she asked me if we could put a hold on the divorce. I said I would think about it. I spoke to my lawyer and she said that it was a bad idea to change the timeline we had established for the dissolution of our marriage. My ex will be getting money from the accident, I imagine. However, her boyfriend's ex-wife and kids will be getting his estate and insurance payout. My mom and dad think that I am being evil to cut her off in a time of need. I'm conflicted. I do not wish this situation on anyone, but she is not really my problem anymore. The wife's the a-hole for cheating for sure. Also, the parents are dickheads for calling him evil. Like, dude, this woman cheated on him. Like, if he decided that he didn't want to take the high road, that's not on him. Honestly, if she hadn't cheated, she wouldn't have been on that motorcycle with the boyfriend and wouldn't have gotten the accident. I hate to say it, but that's how that works. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. If he did decide to do that, that would just be a very nice thing to do. I'm a big fan of like good karma and the universe working for you if you do good things for the universe. But if he was like not my problem, I don't think he's the a-hole for that, because she became not his problem anymore the moment she cheated and wanted a divorce in the first place. If you're gonna cheat on someone, like, go pay for your own health insurance. Let me look over the comments really quick. So this person, I don't even know how to say their name. Follow your lawyer's advice. I assume she's not working and it may be that her bills, rent, credit cards, car, aren't getting paid. I don't know your state or community property laws, but you don't want her medical and other debt to erode the marital assets. So what he's saying is that the bills could fall on him if he's legally not divorced. Am I the a-hole for moving out with my infant because I'm starting to hate my stepdaughter? Been with my husband for 8 years. He has a 13-year-old daughter, stepdaughter, SD. I have a 14-year-old son, a 9-year-old son, and my husband and I have a 5-month-old daughter together. Prior to me giving birth, life was pretty smooth sailing. We did family trips often, had Sunday family night, designated one-on-one time with each of our kids, except my oldest, who has determined he's too cool for us, LOL. But if he wanted, it was always available. There was a few fights between the kids, but nothing major, and was usually resolved within minutes. Since I had the baby, everything went downhill. My home has become a war zone between my youngest son and my stepdaughter. They are physically fighting each other constantly, 90% of the time with my stepdaughter instigating. She knows my son has ASD and ADHD and doesn't like being touched, so she will go up to him and poke him continuously even after being told to stop, and then calls him psycho when he flips out. He can sometimes have a bit of a violent rage, which my doctors say is common with ADHD, but it's literally on purpose. She purposely provokes him to a point where my husband and I have told her at least 8 times that she is to stay away from him entirely for the rest of the day. Well, I've noticed lately that my youngest son has been getting incredibly emotional lately. When I try to get him to talk about it, he screams at me. It's been a huge thing, and I've been over the top stressed about it. He is in therapy, behavioral, OT, and regular therapy. SD is also in therapy. Well, his behavioral therapist opened up to me about 2 weeks back, saying that she was concerned about my son and asked specifically about how much influence my stepdaughter has over my son. She said a lot of stuff has been said in therapy. I won't go into extreme detail, but it was enough to warrant a conversation with my husband and him cracking down on what his daughter was saying to my son. He eventually ended up grounding her for that and something else, and it just made it worse. Well, this morning around 6 a.m., school vacation, my son just starts flipping out over nothing. I tried talking to him and he told me, "Shut up, you never even loved me anyways." I asked him what he was talking about and he just screamed at me to shut up again. My stepdaughter, who was at the table eating cereal, says, "Get used to it. Like I told you, nobody loves middle kids. You should just move out now." He storms off to his room. I asked her if she was the reason why he was acting like this morning, and she said, "No, you are. I didn't make him a middle kid. All I did was explain to him that he will never be loved again, but I didn't make that happen. You did." She is also a middle child in both households, so she talks about middle child syndrome often. My husband walked in and told his daughter to go to her room and took her phone yet again. He went to talk to me and apologize, but I just kind of cut him off and said, "I actually can't do this anymore. Your daughter is destroying my son's life and making him think that I hate him, and I am starting to hate that kid kid to the point where I can't be near her. So I'm going to leave. I would like you and your kid out of my home within 2 months. I own the property and have for 15 years. He's trying to argue that this can be fixed, but it's really come to the point where I hate this child and don't want her near me or my son at all. She's great with the baby. He says he can't believe I'm throwing us away over something that can be fixed. I have a hard time calling a kid who's going through puberty an a-hole because, like, I know I was a fucking dickhead when I was going through puberty. Maybe not on this level, but I was definitely a dickhead. Married into another family who maybe you don't have the best relationship with. Now there's a new child in the equation. There's kids with autism and ADHD in there. I have a hard time like blaming the kid because that is a lot. Even though the stepdaughter's behavior is unacceptable, I want to go with no a-holes here. This sounds like a very complicated situation, and it's not like the husband did anything wrong. I do think there are more options that you haven't exhausted yet before you just completely end your marriage with somebody that you also have a kid with. That's something that rubs me the wrong way. For you to have a 5-month-old with your husband who didn't do anything and to be like, get out, like this is over. I don't know if I agree with that. That's not how marriage works. What goes to my head is you need to send this kid to boarding school. Like something drastic needs to happen. They've tried being parents. They've tried grounding them. They've tried sending them to therapy. Something needs to be done. If anything, the stepdaughter is doing this to cause a rift in the family. Maybe her goal is to get them divorced. I do want to see what the comments are saying. Not the a-hole. Maybe it can be fixed, but it sure as hell cannot be fixed while that kid is in your home. 13 is old enough to understand bullying. Okay, fair. Not the a-hole. It has gotten worse in the 5 months since you've had a child. Unfortunately, it can't be fixed in time to protect your son or undo the damage your stepdaughter has done. It is a really sad situation, but you do need to protect your children, and it seems that the daughter's therapy isn't helping her in meaningful ways. It seems like most people are going with not the a-hole. I think it's weird to like end a marriage over that, especially someone you just had a kid with. Until you've exhausted every possibility, divorce is not the move. Am I the a-hole for making my wife confess to all of her friends and family that she cheated on me if she did not want a divorce? Before we get into the last story, I just wanted to say thank you for watching the video this far. And if you're enjoying the video this far, if you could hit the subscribe button or follow if you're listening on Spotify, as well as maybe share this with a friend who also enjoys Reddit stories. I appreciate any support, and if you enjoyed the video, I'm sure your friends will too. We have a 34 male OP and a 32 female wife. I've been married to my wife for 5 years, and we have 3 children. A few months ago, I found out from my wife's text that she had been cheating on me, and I confronted her about it. She confessed to me and gave me an entire breakdown of her affair, which had lasted for a month. I was devastated and asked her why. She gave no excuses for it and said she had caught feelings for her affair partner which were wrong, and she had acted on them. He was her coworker. I asked her if I lacked in anything, and she had said no, and she was in tears. I needed a few days to process this. My wife gave me space, but she asked me many times to reconsider divorce because it would uproot the lives of our children. She said she would do anything I wanted for the rest of my life. That sentence just rubbed me the wrong way. Using the children as leverage to not get divorced, as well as being like, I'll do anything for you, just seems icky. After a week, I decided that I needed only one thing from my wife to completely forgive her, and that was to call each and every one of her friends and family and confess to her affair. I told her that was my only condition. She was really hesitant and asked me if I could reconsider the condition because this would ruin a lot of her friendships and family relationships. But I told her this was what I needed as a part of my forgiveness process. And if she didn't do this, I was going to start looking for a divorce lawyer. Over the next week, my wife made a phone call to all of her friends, parents, grandparents, siblings, uncles, aunts, pretty much anyone she knew, and confessed to her affair. It was hurtful and there was a lot of crying. My wife was hurled with a lot of shouting. By the week's end, my wife had called everyone I had wanted her to call. I mean, I have to respect that. As much as I'm like, bro, you cheated, you don't deserve any type of forgiveness, that takes some balls to call everyone you know and be like, hey, I know this is completely off topic, but I have to let you know that I cheated on my husband. It has been a few months, and my wife and I actually have a really strong relationship now. However, my wife has pretty much become isolated from her friends and a lot of her family. This has hurt her a lot, and she spends a lot of nights crying, but she says this was worth it for our relationship and for our children. Honestly, no, you're not. If this is really what it took for you to be like, I don't care that you cheated, as long as that's completely true, hey man, your wife could have just not cheated. As long as you guys are strong now and like this was all you needed to like keep the relationship going, she owed it to you. If you're looking for more messy Reddit stories, click the link at the top of the description or the videos popping up on screen right now. The members of our community love these videos, and I'm sure you'll enjoy them too.